It's just fantastic.
Captain's log, supplemental. My tactical officer tells me that the phaser cannons are operational and the quantum torpedoes are armed. If that white whale makes a move on us, we're going to turn him into sushi. Sushi that we shall on this vessel consume for many, many months. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we have 7 subjects I'd like to address. Before we start, the one day late midweek Moisky news is now on the Moisky Live channel. Please consider swinging by and giving it a listen or watch. Preferably listen, I just talk a lot. Also, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch tonight some fishing. I'll actually try and stick to this one for once, because last time I said that, I played Assassin's Creed Revelations. It's not the same kind of fishing. It's more murder fun time. Link to both in the description down below. To start, we're going to go to Florida, where a 40-year-old man called Omar Ford was driving home from work from his security guard job, where he notices, because he's a good man, that another car was swerving with an impaired driver, saying that the gentleman flew past me and his car danced, so I thought he might have been intoxicated. Omar Ford's security company is called Criminal Task Force, and it is understandable many would believe him to be a real police officer if they saw him in his uniform, so he attempted to pull the driver over. But the driver got a little suspicious and got behind Omar Ford's car and flashed his own lights and stopped him further down the road, because that driver, called Zachary Price, is a police officer. Impersonating an officer does get one into a little bit of trouble in most countries. F for Florida man Omar Ford, I guess. Next we're going to go to a PhD student called Laura Gallagher, who was on the TV show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Recently, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire crowned its 14th ever millionaire winner, who did it in record time, a history teacher no less. Laura Gallagher was on the show and had to use a few early lifelines around the £4,000 mark, meaning she'd at least secured 1,000, but she got a fairly elemental question wrong. The question was, which of these ITV, daytime shows, ITV is a channel, was first broadcast in 1988? A. Dickinson's Real Deal, B. GMTV, C. Loose Women, or D. This Morning? The answer should be fairly obvious to the Brits. Dickinson's Real Deal, not that long. Loose Women again, been around for a while, not that long. GMTV has been around for a long time, but it is widely known that This Morning started in 1988 with Richard and Judy, and that weatherman who shall remain unnamed because I want to get ads on this video and he's in prison. Or was. What made it funnier was that if you watch the clip, which is linked in the article down below, she dismisses This Morning. Clearly she's never watched it. She's probably watched Loose Women. Laura Gallagher, I hope your PhD goes absolutely swimmingly. Probably best not to be on TV anytime soon, because, yeah, seriously. Next we go to the military training camp Sandhurst. Sandhurst is renowned, famous for its reputation, class, success, and of course the troops they pump out. Well, with that turn of phrase in mind, they recently had to remove from the clock tower a statue. A rather interesting statue, about 2 foot long, and shaped like a male weapon. How appropriate. Do I now need to start calling this clock tower a cock tower? Would that work better? Jokes aside, I actually find it quite fascinating that someone managed to get up the 100-foot climb just to put that statue there, because there was no other way of getting it up there without scaling it. More impressive that no one noticed. More impressive, someone made that to then go and put it there, and no one noticed. To make this quite amusing, or to add to it, that was seen by 200 officer cadets in the early hours of August the 14th, during a parade, which included Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary who stood in for the Queen, along with 3 sheiks and a prince. I'm sure they were over the moon to see that, although I would say it doesn't really stand out, because it is almost well camouflaged with the background. It's just the shadow underneath the bell. Yep. quality stuff right there. Moving on from that, I want to talk about France, who I saw on Sunday while I was at St. Margaret's on the cliff, looking at a placement for a cannon and a lighthouse. If you ever go for bike rides around that area, it's absolutely fantastic. Well, something we noticed, and something that actually has been reported on a number of times, were certain coloured dinghies crossing the channel. You would think the French would do more to stop this. No, actually, they're not. They're encouraging it and then escorting the dinghies into British waters. More recently, a rather unfortunate dinghy that was actually sinking. They escorted that into British waters to then be rescued by Border Force, which, I'll be honest, if anyone pays attention to Brexit, is a remarkably salty way of handling the fact we are not members with you, but of course, while they're on your soil and they're leaving, you must now escort them to safety elsewhere, instead of taking them on your boat back to France. The UK has a bad rap as it is for just keeping people here anyway. If we know that the French are just going to keep pushing people in the direction of the United Kingdom because they're being salty little bishes, I think there's going to be an issue down the road when we finally reclaim all our waters and you keep doing it. And while I can admire anyone that desperately wants to come to the UK for a better life, do it legally, please. France, you suck. Next. Earlier in the week it was Prince Harry's birthday, so Prince William, his brother, sent him many happy returns, and of course this incurred the ire of others who believe he has intentionally cut Meghan, his wife, Harry's wife that is, out of the picture. Others have pounced on this and said it's racist. It's not. Others have said it's just proof that the firm, the royal family, don't like Meghan. No one does. They did at first in this country, but then when they started seeing how Harry started behaving around her, we started to think, no, we're not such big fans anymore. Not because we believe he should be the dominant force in the relationship, but because what we see in public is a clear dominance from one to the other, and we don't like that. Although I'm sure some are a little bit on the spicy side. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to pictures being shared by Prince William to his brother Prince Harry, he can include whoever he wants in the photos. It is his business. It was, after all, a race between him and Harry and Kate. Meghan wasn't even at that event. To our penultimate story, we're going to go to Amazon, who have incurred the ire of many, many people who support charities or involved with charities and foundations that help towards those who are or have Down syndrome. Because third-party sellers have been trying to do this over and over again, have been putting these t-shirts up on the site. Let's make Down syndrome extinct. And Down syndrome, 1 star out of 5. Very bad, would not recommend. If it isn't obvious enough, I can see the funny side in these shirts. But I will admit, they probably shouldn't be on Amazon because the terms of service do prohibit this kind of stuff. And no, I would not wear one if it was purchased for me in public. To the final story. The BBC is under fire again for their political bias. And this comes courtesy of Frankie Boyle's show, where a comedian by the name of Sophie Duker, where in a segment on the show called New World Order, they were discussing if Black Lives Matter glosses over the complexities of a world where we all need to come together and kill Whitey. With Frankie Boyle playing a clip of Black author James Baldwin talking about Black Power from an interview in the 1970s. Sophie Duker's response to that was, white power is Trump Tower, and that, but when we say we want to kill Whitey, we don't really mean we want to kill Whitey. And then said, we do. As a joke, of course, it's a joke. Might I just say, if one group of people can't make jokes about another, when it comes to race, especially when it comes to ending of one's life, no one else should either. Live by the standards you set, and accept here that you're going to get people offended because you are condoning it, even as a joke. Because many are going to pounce on this regardless and say, that is tasteless. And it is. I also disagree that white power is Trump Tower. That's just a term being used because it sounds cool. There's a little rhyme in there and people are like, oh, we'll use that. No, it really isn't. And the BBC should be ashamed of themselves for airing that. They're in enough trouble as it is and have lost, I think it was 250,000 customers now who are no longer paying for TV licenses. That is a huge amount of money to lose every year. You need to do better than putting out this politically skewed tripe. As we are done here, I would love to know what you think. What is the stupidest thing of the week? Please do let me know in the comments down below. If I don't see you on Twitch tonight, have a cracking Thursday, and thank you all for listening.